Satsang-86. The power where no karma remains. 20th October 1935. Morning Satsang. Those who surrendered to God's feet with the physical body, the speech, and the mind have become like God and are the gurus and the sons of gurus. They utilize that which is dear to them by offering their body and their speech and mind. It is very natural that one who loves the saints becomes endowed with the virtues of the saint. This is the result of keeping the company of saints and sages. When one places one's faith, body, speech, and mind surrendered at the Guru's feet, one attains the goal that is desired. For the mind to be attracted to spirituality and be absorbed in it is itself honorable. The attitude that is opposite to this is worldliness. Many who came into contact with Lord Krishna became free. For whatever reason the contact might have taken place. Even in Krishna's lifetime, some were against him. They were after pleasure obtained through sense objects and were selfish. The man who is obsessed with sense objects desires those pleasures only. He keeps company of similar people who only indulge in sensual pleasures. Such a person does not like to turn to the formless state, and hates those who like to devote themselves to being objectless. This hatred has some reason. Such a man who is born and conditioned in circumstances full of objects fears that he would die if all things are taken away from him. And therefore, he continues to be attached to the sense objects. He is afraid to be without his preoccupation with objects. And thus he starts opposing and criticizing those whose interest lies in the nameless and formless existence. If the husband turns to the path of devotion, his wife hates him. This is because there comes in her life a lack of indulgence in sensual pleasures. Because of this subconscious opposite attitude, a person obsessed with the enjoyment of objects thinks that the enjoyment experienced through sense organs is the best sweet dish that one can have. One who believes that happiness can be found in sensual pleasure does not turn towards spirituality by giving up this temporary pleasure. Desirelessness is the only food that helps us turn towards reality and attain self-realization. It is natural that one who becomes desireless is hated by his friends and family who are simply worldly focused. Those who have sought knowledge have become wise. Those who, for the sake of reaching Atman, give up all wealth, home, and everything collected, together with body, speech, and mind, become one with Atman. Only those who do not like anything except self-knowledge can attain it. Those who are true devotees to this degree see only Brahman wherever their eyes turn. When they think, even their thinking is of Brahman. When they see themselves, they see Brahman. Saint Ram Dass told his mother, that ghost, formless essence called Brahman, has possessed me. This is the most mature state of spiritual understanding. When a person does not like anything else, that is called right knowledge, complete knowledge. One who gives the teaching to the true devotees to such perfection that nothing more remains to be taught, are so dear that Atman is indebted to them. Although I am the Supreme Self, Param Atman, I am under their obligation. I cannot be free of that obligation. Such authority, such highest status, is only for the saints and sages, for they are the Satgurus. Even the gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, cannot bestow this high position. The poet Pandit requested Vishnu to liberate him from the chain of birth and death, but Vishnu said, that is not within my power. I will give you huge wealth and high intellect, but I have no freedom. For freedom, you must go to the saints. They will be able to help you, and you will become accomplished, a siddha. It is the business of the gods to put all creatures on the treadmill and revolve them. To stop that treadmill of worldly life and to give liberation is only within the power of the saints. It is their capacity. Only they will give you self-knowledge. It is not possible to repay the great obligation of what the saints do, because nothing is equal in value to that self-knowledge. There is neither any capital nor any valuable thing to give as payment. God says, I give my own form and my being to the saints and sages. Even this is not correct, as I do not really give it to them, as the saint himself attains the state of Brahman, and I am in his possession. Abiding by the words uttered by a saint and obeying them, I give my own state of consciousness to men, women, and even untouchables. The word karma means to start action, and the word vikarma means the ending of karma. For this, it is necessary to know the stage of nishkarma, that is, between the two. One must know how one can perform action, but remain a non-doer of action. Truly, one does not act, has never acted, and will never act. To know this and to directly experience this is inaction, or nishkarma. This means that there is no doer of the action. In this state, one remains a non-doer. To realize this is nishkarma siddha. Actions prove to be impediments in the life of the spiritual aspirant. Therefore, by listening to the teachings of the Sadguru, we must experience the state of non-doer by attaining self-knowledge. When all of the things pertaining to the body disappear, something remains that is imperishable. Atman remains as the non-doer, although a great number of activities are done. How can the absolute pure consciousness imagine anything about itself? And how can it perform any rituals? One who knows how this is taking place has finished his sadhana and abides as Brahman. One who teaches this is the true master, the Sadguru. The one who takes care of all is really the non-doer. Whom does illusion affect? Only one who holds on to it. Maya puts the individual in bondage by giving the food of sensory gratification. When the person who is accused admits his crime, only then is he proved guilty. Maya puts the jiva who admits his crime into bondage and subjects him to endless births. What crime is it that these fools admit? They admit their slavery to sense objects. What is this slavery? Even though one may have already enjoyed many pleasures, the desire to enjoy them again and again persists. The jiva thinks that the objects of the senses are real, and although he may have some understanding, the individual thinks that he will derive pleasure from the sense objects. Even though such people may have knowledge, they worry and ask, "What more can I do? How can I behave now?" You harbor such useless doubts and become slaves to illusion. Actually, there is no question of how to behave or what to do. Action and non-action are both irrelevant. When the whole life is one, why ask how to behave? That question is finished. Lord Krishna says, "I am his servant who realizes this nishkarma." I have also been taught by the Sadguru, who has realized Brahman. The question is, why and how does this necessity arise? I am Param Atman, the one complete bliss, the only reality. There is no sense of anything being separate from me. My so-called life is one all-pervading totality, spread out everywhere. Oneness. That is why it was necessary even for me to go to the Sadguru to understand the self. Such is the great secret of the self. I am the body of Atman, the self of all the realized ones, and that is myself, the self of the Sadguru, and myself are one. There is no doubt about this. The physical actions of the saint are my own physical actions. I am called Avatar. Why? Because I know Brahman. Otherwise there were and are many children of the gopis. I am called Avatar, an incarnation of God who comes down from Brahman, because of my knowledge of Brahman. In a similar way, the saints and sages also are actually my own self. The self is another incarnation of mine. And knowledge has also increased in addition, and therefore the Jnani is greater than I, just as the coach driver is definitely superior to a man who is only riding a horse. As the various sciences in this world develop further, spiritual knowledge also progresses. Thus, those realized ones who have appeared in this world are very great, and you should know them as one with myself. I cannot repay the debt to the one who teaches others about the knowledge of Brahman. How can I repay him? I am constantly attending to them. I become a household servant at their home. It is I, Krishna, who am living in their houses. I am the servant of that man in whose body and speech spiritual knowledge finds expression. Krishna continues and says, this dialogue of ours is called pure spiritual knowledge. The one who makes wicks of the 10 senses and the mind, and in that light reads this book of knowledge, attains wisdom. Illusion treats self-knowledge as an infectious disease, because if one attains self-knowledge, he gathers many others to give it to them. And illusion gets very angry with the Sadguru and the saints and sages. But it is ineffective in their case. The one who holds dear the feet of saints has emancipated many of his ancestors. Likewise, in the family, if a person has no devotion to Atman, the ancestors are angry. They curse him and bring difficulties in his life. Even gods like Brahma and others bow to the feet of the man who is in the company of a realized saint. One who examines illusion is like King Parakshit. He is the one who observes and judges properly. If anybody gives even a pot of water to such a saint, that man is sure to be released from bondage. Not only this, but even the bullocks who are yoked to their cart are ultimately destined for liberation, because they were physically useful for the work of the saints. Just as the light of one moon is equal to that of millions of stars, the one who listens and becomes realized liberates the entire world. In the case of one who listens but does not reflect over what has been heard, his listening is non-productive. Contemplation and meditation is necessary after listening. The story may be over, but the meditation should be continued. Spiritual aspirants must constantly attend to their meditation. Together with meditation, the singing of bhajans in praise of God and Guru is increased, and devotion of a very high degree is evident in one's life. This is called para bhakti, which means supreme devotion. The devotees of the Sadguru attain this supreme devotion.